Hello and welcome. This will be a reading for Libra for July 2023. Welcome to the table, Libra. I have pre-shuffled the cards, but I will shuffle them again for you. I'll be using a 10-card spread with 5 cards along the top row, 5 cards along the bottom row, and I'll be talking about those cards as they come out, and then I'll be overlaying them with a second deck of cards and discussing those cards as well. And hopefully if we can clarify, that should be sufficient to clarify what energies are coming towards you in July, so you can analyse your situation a little bit more carefully. All right, I think we're ready to start. I will also show you the bottom of the deck, but only one card. So 7 of Wands in the upright position, the Hanged Man in the reverse position, King of Wands in the upright position, the Sun, and the 9 of Cups. Okay, then we have on the bottom row, we've got the 3 of Wands, 5 of Cups, 7 of Swords, 9 of Wands, and the Lovers in reverse. And on the bottom of the deck, I'll show you first, and then I'll take a look. Okay, we've got the Fool, so a lovely new journey. This is always wonderful energy. I do like the Fool, so it's telling me straight away, and there's a lovely sense of freedom and clarity and fresh air around this card. So as you can see, he's got the gold surrounding him and he's under the sun. So this is feeling joyous. So this journey that you're undertaking, I do feel, is going to be very joyous. It does feel like a whole new start. It feels very clean and crisp, and that card is really giving me the sense of that clean energy and vitality around you. So that's wonderful. Here we've got the 7 of Wands. So it looks like something has been quite a bit of a struggle. This card is often talking about putting up your boundaries and your limits around you and assessing those things and making sure that you put yourself first and you put yourself above any conflicts or things that people are demanding of you, and that you may not have the capacity to give. And it looks like you've had to climb high up, because it looks like people have kept chasing you, kept prodding you, kept asking and begging of you certain things that perhaps you were just not able to give anymore. And there's a very defensive sort of posture there. But it also talks about setting up your boundaries, making sure you protect yourself, putting yourself first, and he's elevated himself to a higher position. So you do need to put yourself first. You can see that, there will be many requests, many demands made of you. These are responsibilities and demands. Those wands are people asking things of you, putting responsibilities on top of you. So you need to actually kind of say no. I'm going to choose my own responsibilities. I will choose my own demands. I'm going to be a little bit more clear. And you can see there's this sort of circular arch around him. So he's putting up this sort of a little mantle around himself and saying, I'll think about what I take on before I take something on. So Libra, that is a really good posture to find yourself in, or a position to find yourself in. Having sort of put a little bit of a protective barrier around yourself, so that then you can assess what it is you want to do and what responsibilities you want to take on, rather than just taking on everything that's been foisted upon you. Now, the Hanged Man is in the reverse position. So I think you have had time to reflect and think and assess, and you've achieved this mental clarity, I think, and you are saying, no more, I'm getting down off this position. My hands were tied up until now, and I've kept my options clear. I've been looking for stability and clarity, and I think you've probably found that. You're in a state of balance. And I think you're ready, you've stopped for a little while, and those vines and the creepers have grown around you and perhaps tried to hold you back. But I think you're about ready to step off that pole or cross or the tree, and you're going to, when you step down, I think you're going to shake everything off. Here's the King of Wands. It looks like your vitality is returning somewhat. Hopefully your passion and your enthusiasm is coming back. I think also, you may be getting some fresh ideas about things, and you can see he's very relaxed and reposed, and he has that wand of his choice in his hand, and he is going to follow his passions. He is going to say, okay, there's all the heavy responsibilities. I'm rock solid. I've made my decision, and I'm going to follow my passions. I'm going to follow my desires. I have been thinking about this, and I am a lot more confident about where I'm going. So I think that's cost you to get to this point. I do think you've thought about this long and hard, because that throne, you've been sitting there for a while and you look pretty secure there. So I think you've taken a long time to get this far. But look at this beautiful energy. You're into the sun. So the sun is vitality, health, joy, happiness, success, radiance, all of those wonderful things. And the King of Wands, perhaps this decision that you've made to follow your own passions, to accept only the responsibilities. You're only going to put in your hand the wands and responsibilities, the things that you want to follow for yourself, I think are going to put you, and he's holding a wand here, as you can see. So once you do that, I think you are going to feel stronger, you're going to have more vitality, more enthusiasm, much more passion, and you're going to feel a little bit happier. You're going to feel a little bit younger and a little bit refreshed, and I think that's why this Fool card is here. I think the two of these cards together is very much showing this young and enthusiastic energy. I think you're just about ready in July, to step forth, and you've cleaned yourself off. So that's kind of wonderful energy. Here, feeling radiant and happy, you're getting what you wish for, standing confidently. You're not fazed by anything. I think you're quite assured here, self-assured, feeling quite happy, quite proud of yourself. So things coming towards you that you've wished for. I do think you look very, very confident there, looking very self-assured. Don't be smug, whatever you do. If you're receiving multiple wishes or multiple blessings, the cosmos sometimes gives you a reward for the difficult times that you've gone through. Once you receive those blessings and those rewards, be generous, have an open heart about that, express yourself with confidence and with love, okay? And if it was in the reverse position, I'd say there was smugness, but it isn't in the reverse position. But be wary of that, because other people may be going through a difficult time and may not be receiving any blessings, just like you've been through a difficult time. Be very happy for yourself and just be joyous. Here's the Three of Wands, expansion coming in. Again, you're turning your back on this struggle. I think this is very much indicated by these two cards, this one above this one. It's saying that you're not going to struggle like this anymore. You're not going to take on these responsibilities. You're only going to carry with you what you want. You're going to move forward. I do think very much you may be interested in traveling. This is a card of expansion, looking beyond where you're standing now. And the fact that you've put some of these wands down, these responsibilities, now you have a little bit more freedom. Again, it's like when you go to the edge of the water and you're standing there at the ocean, and you breathe in that lovely ozone, full, rich, salty, fresh, clean air. You can feel your lungs expand and feels like things are much more possible. So there's ships here on this image, so either your ships are coming in or you are going to board one of these ships and have a little bit of travel. You're going to move forward. If not, you're actually thinking about it very much, about moving forward. You want to enrich the tapestry of your life. Can you see the pattern on the back of on his back there? You want a richer tapestry in your life. You want something a little bit more exotic. You want to fulfill yourself. You want to look at some beautiful things, and you'd love to move forward. Okay, under the Hanged Man. So this Hanged Man is telling me that you have been through this long period of grief or sadness, this time of bleakness, and feeling like there was perhaps not much hope. And that bleakness and that grief is the thing that has kept you tied up. Can you see the colours are matching here on his sleeves? It's that grief, that blueness that's kept you bound. But I do think that you are going to cross this bridge and you are going to venture forth. I think you've decided that enough's enough now. You've gone through your period of grief. Hopefully you can let that go. There'll be moments when you are pulled back. But if you can look to the future, look to these new cups, look to the expansion, come down off this bondage or this sacrificial period, and let that go if you can. Now we've got the King of Wands here, and beneath that is the Seven of Swords, which I'm finding a little bit troublesome. The Seven of Swords is always a little bit sneaky, a little bit of trickery and treachery, perhaps betrayal. I'm not entirely sure why this card is here on this reading. I'm going to leave it there because I'll come back to that. We don't know what's going on in the tents behind. Is there somebody plotting and scheming? Is somebody fixing up a plan? Is an army gathering together? Is there a festive occasion being prepared? Or is somebody just stealing or trying to plot to steal or trick or betray? I'm not entirely sure. So we'll just leave that card there and we'll talk about that a little bit more. It might be clear when the next layer comes out. Nine of Wands, again, this is this, weariness, this tiredness, all the responsibilities, all the things you have to do. It looks like you've taken care of a lot of business. It's built up your strength. You are mighty powerful, as you can see, probably way stronger than you think you are. And there's always that, when responsibilities are sort of placed in front of you, sometimes you have no choice but to pick up those wands of responsibility, and you wonder how you're going to cope, and you get stretched and pushed beyond your limits. But it's kind of like being a weightlifter. A weightlifter tears the muscles from lifting repeatedly heavy weights, and then the muscle tears repair themselves, and you get stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, at the 9, it's that weariness before you're almost finished. So just a little bit more to go, perhaps, of some responsibilities that you may have left, but you are rock solid. And there, I know for myself, and I'm speaking here about myself, when I sometimes get anxious about the responsibilities that may yet come in the future. And that's a mental aspect. But then if you look back at everything you've already coped with, and that you've dealt with and you've struggled with, but yet you've been made stronger. So you can cope. It's that worry about I can't cope, because you can see here there's a moon in the background. So there's that sense of, the anticipation of more worries, more responsibilities are making you weary. This is often referred to as the wounded warrior card, but you can see that as much as you may be the wounded warrior, there's a measure of huge strength here from all you've achieved and all that you've undertaken in the past. And you have found your balance because you're standing there between the two pillars. So it's just that little, if you've still got some responsibilities to go, you may be coming very close to the end of that heavy burden of responsibility. He's looking backwards and he's like, okay, have I got any more coming? And he's prepared. He's ready to shoulder that burden if necessary. So I do think you have the strength to carry those burdens. You may not be enthusiastic about it, but I do think that you have the integrity and the strength to carry any burdens that come your way. All right, now we have the Lovers in the reverse aspect. So now this can be a separation from a soulmate. It can also be, and I often refer to this, particularly in this deck of cards, it looks very much like a birthing experience. It can also be sort of that separation, that struggle you've had when you're trying to balance your subconscious and your conscious mind, when you're trying to lift yourself up to become a better person, to reach another dimension, to vibrate a little bit higher, there's a real struggle sometimes to hold that energy. And sometimes it feels like you get thrown straight back down onto the earth and you just can't maintain that vibration. And that's what that feels like. That's that energy, that alarm, that anguish of like, I'm trying so hard, I'm giving it my best, I just can't hold it. And it feels like sometimes you get thrown back to the earth. But again, that is kind of like a birthing experience. It feels like you're coming out of the other end. There's an angel here to welcome you. It's not in the upright position, but there's protection. So through all this anguish and the turmoil and this struggle to find this balance, there's an angel with arms outstretched waiting to catch you. So there's a measure of protection and blessing there. And when you go through this torment of trying to find the balance, and the torment perhaps of losing a soulmate, perhaps maybe it was a trauma bond rather than a soulmate, so then there's this tearing apart because it's the realization and you need that clarity, and the angel here brings this clarity, the clarity of what was in the water there, what is in the water, what is in the mountains, what was this struggle all about? Were the emotions right? Was it for you? Was it meant for you? Is this part of your journey to continue, or is this something you need to let go of and birth into a new experience? But because here and this is almost, as you can see, he's standing there with the mountain and the lake, and in the background of this Lover's card, you will see the mountain and the lake there. So this is perhaps part of your new quest, and I'd say you have birthed into this new journey that you're heading into, and it may have been quite a difficult process. It looks like you've had quite a lot of struggles and some grief and some periods of solitude. Again, I'm not quite sure why this is here. Let's clarify these cards now. This second deck that I'm using, which is the Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot, it also has been very well shuffled, so I'll just give you some demonstration of shuffling, and it's also good just to refresh the energy of the cards as I'm presenting your reading, Libra. It just releases the energy. Okay, the cards already on the table are the Tarot Illuminati. Oops, there's one out. Okay, it wants to come out. Okay, Seven of Wands in reverse. Wonderful. Okay, so letting go. So wonderful. So that's behind you. You've established your boundaries. I think people can try all they like now to push you around, but I don't think you're going to tolerate it anymore. I think you're putting yourself first. For once you've turned the world upside down. You're behaving in a different way than you have previously. So I think this has not normally been you. I think normally you have probably taken on too much, and I think you've decided to turn your world upside down. You've just decided, no, I'm not doing it anymore. And I think that's why the Hanged Man is in this reverse position. Okay, let's continue laying out the cards. Oh, Five of Swords. Okay. Page of Swords. Strength in reverse. The Fool in reverse. King of Wands. The Moon. Eight of Wands in reverse, Knight of Swords, and the Hermit. Oh, some interesting energies here. Oh, I better look at the bottom of the deck. I forgot, as usual. Who have we got there? King of Cups. All right. We'll put that out. Okay, this is not looking any clearer to me. This is quite strange, because all of these cards are looking a little bit blue. There's a couple here with some golden energy, but a little bit of blueness. Again, this Libran energy of pulling back into the moon, pulling back, going back into your intuition, going back into your own space. There's very much, whereas the first layer of cards were more pushing forward. So it looks like perhaps in July that you're going to pull back once more. So it's this ebb and flow of the energy into the real world and back into the moon. So it's rather interesting. I'm getting that feeling here. So Seven of Wands in reverse, I've spoken about that. Now we've got the Five of Swords. This is winner take all. I always refer to this as winner take all. This is never a nice card, doesn't look nice. It looks like some hurt and pain. I don't know if this is current or something to be aware of. I guess what I can say here is to be careful of the language that you use, okay, so that you don't cause any hurt and pain. Because we've all been on the receiving end of people's harsh words, and you know how painful that can be. So I'm going to say, even though it's in the upright position, and this is winner take all, so I don't know if you're going to take all or take all that you need. Maybe that's it's a reaction perhaps from the Seven of Swords, this mental thing. Well, I'm only going to look after myself. But be careful that you don't become too harsh here, Libra. That this struggle of having had too many responsibilities, be careful that your thoughts and your words don't become too harsh and too rigid, because then you may damage people, and that's not what you want either. Page of Swords. So this is wonderful, inquiring, intelligent, intellectual, very much in your integrity, very much learning and wanting to learn, wanting to explore, as you can see, standing high here on top of a hill, letting the clouds blow around. So looking and exploring and learning and being very curious. Curious, what's out there? I want to know more of what's out there. And the birds, this is a quest for freedom. As you can see, and I think you're finding your freedom, and you are enjoying that lovely fresh air that comes with that fresh mind, that open mind that comes with that. When you don't have so many responsibilities, you've got room to think, and you've got room to think about the things you want to do and the things that are important to you. You have time then to perhaps undertake some study, and you have time also to engage with mental clarity. When you're learning something, you have time to investigate. So that's rather nice, rather than having just those limited moments where you get a brief moment of time and you really haven't got time to make any progress going forward when you're trying to learn, because then a responsibility comes back and gets you. Okay, here is the Strength. It's in reverse. So hopefully this is talking about a period of where you haven't been able to find your strength. You've been feeling disempowered, okay? Feeling like you were out of balance with nature, out of balance with yourself, and perhaps not having had sufficient time in nature. That's when you become a little bit disempowered. When you've got too many responsibilities, you become disempowered because you're not yourself. Other things tend to overtake you, but it's on top of the sun. So I'm hoping that this card is telling me that you will regain your strength and your power, and that period of feeling very much like all your energy was going to something else rather than yourself, that may be hopefully over. Now we've got the Fool here in the reverse aspect on top of the Nine of Cups. Okay, I'm not quite sure what to make of this, because he's starting on his journey, but there may be a little bit of a delay. I'm not quite sure why. And I'm getting the sense of maybe there's something you need to do first. Maybe there is, I'm talking about this mountain, this cliff edge. Perhaps you need to make some better preparations before you step out on your new journey. I'm not entirely sure. I'll leave that for the moment. It's on the Nine of Cups. So it's what you wish for. Whether there's an element of fear, that's actually what I'm getting. Maybe there's an element of fear. You're getting what you wish for. So this wish includes this new journey. But I'm getting this little dog is white, and I'm feeling that this little dog represents a fear to you, and he's saying, come back, come back, come back, come back. Whereas this little dog, he looks more joyous about going forward. As you can see, he looks more enthusiastic. Whereas the other one, I think, is fear, holding you back. So there could be that element of fear holding you back. I don't think you need to worry too much. I think you have got the strength. You know, I was talking about the strength. I think it's probably just that you have felt so bound, and again, so bound up and so tied down for so long that this new experience is leaving you a little bit bewildered. I'll use the word bewildered because I think that's probably a good description here. King of Wands, and again you've had the King of Wands, so in the upright position, this lovely new energy, this, you know, this regeneration, this fire, this little bit of enthusiasm that's coming back into your life, giving you some inner vitality. That's a wonderful, wonderful energy. And you have survived. Here's a salamander on the bottom. They can survive the periods, the hot fires. They can survive in a hot desert. They know how to crawl under a rock and protect themselves. So you have survived. You've been put through the fire. You've been put through the ringer, I think. Again, taking firm control of your stuff, your priorities. I think your priorities have been put on hold for too long, and I think you're now very happy to, you know, grab this one staff of your own and say, okay, this is what I'm focusing on. I'm going to make this staff flourish. It's going to represent me in the future. Now, here's the moon. So you've got this on top of this Five of Cups. So I think there will be times when you go back and reflect on your past period of sorrow and grief, but you need to find that balance. And I do suggest that you don't spend too long. All of this row here, and perhaps this could be the second week in July that you your thoughts trouble you again, because that could be your thoughts here. And don't let the moon drag those thoughts to the surface, reflecting on grief and loss and sorrow, making you cry perhaps. Perhaps there's a period of tears. I can only think that maybe something upsets you somewhere at the beginning of July that makes you remember perhaps a loved one maybe that's passed over, or a time of loss and sadness. But don't stay there too long. The one thing about this reading, it gives you a little bit of forewarning about that. So any loss or grief, don't stay there too long. Think about it, allow it to come, release it with love, and say thank you very much. I acknowledge the grief, I acknowledge the pain, I remember the hurt, I remember the love that we shared, but let that go, because otherwise it holds you back. And I think you've been held back for a very long time as it is. Now we've got some sort of message coming in fast. Now this is interesting because the Eight of Wands is messages coming in fast. So, and usually they're good news. So it's, now we've got the Seven of Swords and the Eight of Wands. So the only thing I can think is that a message is coming in and you may be feeling like you've been tricked somehow, or the message you feel somehow that it wasn't what you were hoping for, because I'm very troubled by this card. It's not a major card. It's under the Page of Swords, so making this mental breakthrough, waiting for a message to come in. Look, it comes in quickly, but I'm a little bit worried about this particular card. So I'm not quite sure whether you feel betrayed by the message is a disappointment, or the message gives you further hurt. I'm not sure. But be guarded, I guess, about a message coming in. And here you've got the Knight of Swords. So this is this can be a legal matter coming towards you at full steam ahead, and that could be part of this Eight of Wands. Don't be hasty. If there's a legal matter, scrutinise it. I think particularly because we've got the Seven of Swords. So if there's a legal matter you're dealing with, pay good attention to the detail. Don't just take it at face value. You need to scrutinise this, because if this is a legal matter, it's coming in fast. And perhaps somebody's saying to you, hurry up, sign on the dotted line. No, you make sure you read the detail of the contract. If it's a contract or a separation or something that is actually really important. Don't make haste. This is coming in quite fast. And it's on top of the Nine of Wands, and you've got the Eight of Wands here. So use this strength that you've acquired. Do you know, you may be in such a hurry to get things sorted out that you feel the temptation to rush something because you've had such a long-standing struggle with things. But this is where I'm suggesting that the cards are speaking to you, saying, even if it's coming in fast towards you, you don't need to sign something overnight. Make sure you get that checked. Make sure any new ideas you have, you think about carefully. This is this can be rashness, haste. It can be analytical thinking as well, being very razor sharp in your mind and being able to think with great clarity. But I've mentioned all the things that I think are important for you. Okay, here's the Hermit. So you've got this is on top of the Lovers, which is interesting, feeling, as I said, I got a very strong sense of you being protected. This is again this energy where I think you probably have spent a lot of time drawing within yourself, looking at your inner light, and I think valuing this inner light, paying your respects to it for all that you've done, all that you've achieved, the hard work you had getting here, the lonely times of walking that journey all by yourself. I think you're now ready to let that go, that lonely journey by yourself. I think you're letting that go. I think this is very much this birthing experience. I think you've done that birthing experience. You've done the hard spiritual work. You've done the hard yards. You've accepted the responsibility. And now this is your time for freedom. Okay, time for freedom. And the other card that came out was the King of Cups. So I do think it's time for freedom, time for a new life. You're going to embrace this King of Cups. You've opened your heart. You're ready to receive. You're sitting there and you are waiting for some new experiences to come your way. And I think that's rather lovely. So, you know, he's in the upright position and you are very, very ready. You know, I think you've been through a lot by the looks of it. Just looking at these cards, be careful not to slip back into your moon energy and stay there too long. That's the one thing you got to guard against. And keep your mental clarity. I think everything else will be okay. It looks like you've worked hard and you've struggled hard to put up your boundaries and your limitations and to start to say no to things. No, I'm not taking this on. I'm going to focus on myself, because this King of Wands is focusing on himself. And he's putting his energy into himself, which is what you need to do. So also focusing on being ready to share love, and be careful, no harsh words, okay, no bad thoughts. You know, if you start to doubt yourself because the moon has come out and ensnared you back into that state of illusion and that state of grief, be careful you speak with love to that energy. And just release it and let it go. And then you'll be back connected with your heart in your King of Cups, waiting for good things to come towards you. So that's it for today, Libra. I do hope you've enjoyed the reading, and good luck with your journey. Don't be frightened. I think sometimes you become a little bit bound up when you've been in one situation such a long time. The newness of being set free sometimes is a bit of a shock. So I'm hoping that you can go forward with great enthusiasm and passion and welcome the world that comes towards you. Bye for now. Thank you for watching.